Prince William explains how Diana inspired his latest charitable initiative, as King Charles will no longer attend a climate summit. Plus, Sarah Ferguson praises Kate as we have details about her emotional public visit following her chemo treatment. And is Meghan Markle the most bullied woman in the world? We get that answer as her ex-bodyguard speaks out. We've got that plus so much more in today's Royally Yes. Hey everyone, and welcome to Royally Yes. I'm Christina, and that's Christine. And Christine, we got a lot of big royal news this week.
Yep, people are back to work. We're getting these great royal stories through. It feels good. I always say it every week, but it feels so good to have some positive things to talk about.
Definitely. Well, let's kick it off with Prince William because he explained how his late mother, Princess Diana, inspired his latest charitable initiative. He said in the trailer for his upcoming ITV documentary, Prince William, We Can End Homelessness, I have taken some inspiration and guidance from what my mother did, particularly with homelessness. The 30-second clip released on October 13th showed William wearing an apron as he visited a homeless shelter. In a voiceover, the Prince of Wales explained his goal to address the homelessness issue in the UK. He said, I've slowly tried to work out what can I bring to the role and the platform that I have. Now, he launched this Homewards project in 2023 with the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales. Homewards aims to make homelessness rare, brief, and unrepeated with a 5-year locally led program. So it's great that we're going to get this documentary. It's really going to shine a light. And this was also something, as you said, that was near and dear to Diana's heart.
Yeah, and as he said, this is really how you utilize your platform for good. How many people will tune in or sort of catch clips because Prince William is a part of this show where otherwise the content probably wouldn't have reached the audience that it's going to now. As he said, this is something that he's worked with since he was going to Centrepoint Charities with his mother when he was a teenager. So this is pretty much a lifelong project of his, something that he's really dedicated to eradicating homelessness, identifying those root causes and getting the message out there. So I'm excited for this. It's like more actionable change, more things that we're really, really seeing from them that are really visible and using that platform for good.
Yeah, it's definitely using the platform for good. All right, well, moving on to King Charles, he will no longer attend the upcoming COP29 climate conference in Azerbaijan. Buckingham Palace confirmed on October 9th that he will no longer attend the meeting on November 11th. And now this is according to Hello Magazine. Now, he previously attended last year's summit in Dubai. Further details about Charles's absence have not been revealed, but he and Queen Camilla are slated to embark on an autumn tour of Australia and Samoa later this month. According to an official press release, the King and Queen will travel around the countries from October 18th to October 26th. We spoke a bit about this this upcoming tour last week and how they had to cut it a bit short due to his cancer treatment. No idea if this is why he is backing out of this conference, but it looks like he will no longer be making that trip.
Yeah, I think COP29, it really aligns with so many of his priorities with climate change, environmentalism. There could be so many things at play here. Something else could have popped up. November 11th is really close to the Remembrance Day services here in the UK. So it could have been a situation where he couldn't make the schedule fit, or it was going to be too taxing with his treatments, especially since he's taking sort of an extended leave from his treatments. His doctors may have said, whoa, whoa, we can't do everything. So I'm sure he is not pleased to miss it. We know he's a hard worker. We know he wants to be there, but hopefully it's all for, the benefit of his health.
Definitely. Well, speaking of health, Sarah Ferguson is proud of Princess Kate. Princess Kate's candor regarding her cancer treatment and battle. She said during an appearance on This Morning, saying, I mean, the video that the princess did was just incredible. I was so moved. She's just showing the world what it is to really look after yourself and have self-love in order to help others. And I think that's extraordinary. I love this. She's been a constant support, at least in the public, and I'm sure behind closed doors as well for Kate during this time. And she's really, doing some great work, which we'll get to in just a second. But it's nice that she is lending her support.
Yeah, and I think we talked so much about how Sarah Ferguson speaking out about her own cancer diagnosis was so important, really using her platform to encourage others to get checked. And now I think Sarah is seeing the Princess of Wales doing that on like a massive platform. And that's really what the royals are, utilizing that platform for good. Prince William's homelessness, King Charles's openness about his own health, all of this hopefully leads to other people taking notice and making the right choices.
Definitely. And kind of piggybacking off of that, Sarah Ferguson announced that She has a new patronage called the Prevent Breast Cancer. She announced this on social media, saying, at Prevent Breast Cancer uses science to save lives and is the UK's only charity dedicated to the prediction and prevention of breast cancer. She was, of course, diagnosed with breast cancer back in 2023 and then skin cancer earlier this year. And she went on to write that it's difficult when you're told that you have cancer not to let your mind go to the darkest places. She added, you can't help thinking that it's a death sentence, and the dread of what lies ahead and how you are going to share the news with your family can be overwhelming. Something that in the last year I've had to face twice, when a routine mammogram detected breast cancer that I underwent treatment for that saved my life, proving the importance of never skipping screening appointments, before being diagnosed with malignant melanoma, the most aggressive form of skin cancer. So like we said, she's kind of using her platform for good and kind of spreading awareness that you can't skip these appointments and you have to really, take it seriously because it could save your life.
Yeah, I'm so glad she's taken on this patronage, really showing support for that organization, just using her platform to get this message out there. I think we're seeing more and more that she really could have been such an incredible asset to the royal family, and now she's sort of tangentially royal, but still using those sort of royal connections, I think, in a very, very positive way.
Definitely. It's super positive. Well, Princess Kate's first public-facing event since announcing the end of her cancer treatment was nothing short of powerful. While speaking with first responders who rushed to help survivors of a deadly knife attack in Southport earlier this year, the Princess of Wales shared how much of an impact they had on grieving parents. Now, according to Hello Magazine, she told firefighters, officers, and other heroes how grateful they all are for the support you provided on the day. For you to witness that, you need support yourselves. Prince William added, you're all heroes. Please make sure you look after yourselves. Take your time. Don't rush back to work. Now, according to Sky News royal correspondent Rhiannon Mills, who was covering the couple during their surprise joint appearance, the moment was singular. She told Hello, it was one of the most emotional and candid conversations I've ever listened to on a royal visit. Kate was engaged and visibly moved by what she was hearing from the first responders as they bravely shared their experiences. With William alongside her, you could see that they had both wanted to travel to Southport to show the community that they hadn't been forgotten. I mean, I can't even imagine what those families are going through, have been going through, and just I'm sure that short visit probably meant a lot to them during their time of grief.
I think so, and it was a really personal visit. The visit was embargoed until after the event had ended, so they really wanted this to be personal, an opportunity for people to be open and honest without huge amounts of crowds and the hullabaloo that would come from William and Kate attending this event. And I think the fact that this was really Kate's first sort of official royal engagement since her cancer treatment, that really shows how important this was to them, how moved they must have been by this horrible incident. We talked about the King and Queen meeting the families and first responders and community members a few weeks ago. It really did shake the UK, as a whole. And so William and Kate being there really on a personal level, meeting with these families and the first responders, talking about that experience in an emotional way, I think was so important, so valuable to them.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably meant a great deal. All right, well, let's switch gears and spill some royal tea. And 2 years after the death of Queen Elizabeth, her former aide is opening up about her time working for the famed royal and revealing a few surprising anecdotes. Samantha Cohen, who was employed by the Queen for 18 years, spoke candidly in a new interview with the Sunday Times, which was published on October 12th. She described the Queen as a shy woman who was family-oriented. She said she wanted to be a family woman as well, the Queen. It was important to her. She loved hosting everybody for summer, allocating the rooms, and checking them herself. Cohen, an Australian native, started working in the publicity office at Buckingham Palace when she was just 25 years old. She eventually was promoted to communication secretary and then to assistant private secretary. In that time, she also got to see an unexpected side of the royal that most people can't claim to have known. She said that the monarch had a need for speed, saying she was gutsy. She would drive her cars fast around Balmoral. I could just kind of picture that, her behind the wheel, just like flooring it through the Balmoral estate.
We have seen these great pictures of her in like these big Land Rover Defenders with like a corgi in the passenger seat. I mean, and to think of her just sort of speeding through, bumping along on these country roads, I absolutely love that side of her.
Oh, I love it. Just to be a fly on the wall in Balmoral during that time. Oh, the
Absolutely.
stories.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I love it. All right. Well, Mike Tindall has been opening up about how easy it was for him to join the royal family and insisted it was all down to him being nice to them. In a new interview with The Telegraph to promote his upcoming book, The Good, the Bad, and the Rugby, Unleashed, with James Haskell and Alex Payne, the former rugby player said joining royal life was simple, really. He wrote, "Believe it or not, marrying into the royal family was pretty easy for me. They were always nice to me, and I was always nice to them. Simple, really." I mean, I guess that's, I mean, I guess if you're nice to them, they're nice in return, and that's all there is to it.
Well, I think, Mike really kind of came from the public eye. He was a rugby player, had a taste of, fame, if you will. And I think entering it, marrying Zara, particularly, who has such a different role in the royal family, probably gave him the best of both worlds. He can still do all the fun things, the commercial ventures that they want to do, and they still get to go to Sandringham for Christmas. That balance must be, I mean, I'm jealous. I think they've got a great setup, but it's really nice to hear all these little anecdotes from Mike that pop up on his podcast from time to time, and it sounds like they are a nice normal family.
Definitely got the life.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Meghan Markle spoke with young girls about an important issue ahead of International Day of the Girl. Larissa May, founder of Half the Story, a nonprofit focused on improving young people's relationships with technology, told Vanity Fair about the personal conversations that Meghan had with a group of teens while visiting the nonprofit girls in Santa Barbara, California, back on October 2nd. She said, "We did an activity where we talked through a bunch of scenarios, and Meghan talked about being one of the most bullied people in the world. We had girls wave these little emoji signs and talk about how each one of these scenarios would have impacted them emotionally." I mean, she talked about that, in her Netflix documentary, and, we know that she's had a lot of, in her various interviews talking about, having suicidal thoughts and things like that. So she definitely was impacted about what social media, what comments people had to say about her. It had to be a very dark time.
I think so. And I mean, anyone who's looked at the discourse about Meghan Markle online will see some really dark, horrible, people can be really horrible on the internet. Yeah. Even just the way that this statement has really been torn apart and really ripped to shreds shows how Meghan, really does face a significant amount of bullying that if someone else had said something similar wouldn't have faced nearly as much scrutiny. So I think it's good that she's getting out there, having these conversations, doing some more work, meeting with people and promoting these organizations. Now, how many people have heard of this nonprofit Girls Inc? Again, it's just using that platform for good.
Definitely using the platform for good. And even her ex-bodyguard, he spoke out and said that he actually felt sorry for Meghan for marrying into the royal family, saying that it was very stressful for her because she struggled going from a B-list celebrity to the most famous woman in the world. Steve Davies was first introduced to Meghan back in 2018 when he was hired by Suits broadcaster NBC to protect Meghan while she was filming in Toronto, Canada. He said it was stressful for her, all the publicity. Now, he spoke to In Touch magazine. He said, "We had people following us around everywhere we went. We had problems with drones, vehicle chasing us. It was a nightmare." Now, he is a former British Special Forces soldier, and he said that he feared that what happened to Princess Diana might have happened to her, while comparing her life in England after her 2018 wedding to being in a goldfish bowl. He also defended the Duchess of Sussex against claims that she was not a very good person to work with, adding, "There's one huge lesson I learned from her. It's give respect to get respect." Yeah, I know we had a big cover story a few weeks ago about people that spoke out about working with her and they had a great experience. I'm sure not everybody has a great experience with everybody that they work with, but yeah, she went from, not really a household name. She was just a person on a very successful TV show to one of the most famous women in the world. It had to be a huge learning curve. And as we saw, it didn't really work out well.
Oh, absolutely. And especially when Harry and Meghan, sort of the rumors first started of them starting to date, all of a sudden there was a huge descent upon, her life for pictures and information. And I think it went a lot faster than anyone had ever anticipated. And we have to remember that at that time, she wasn't engaged. They were just dating. So there wasn't any royal protection. So, these bodyguards who were just, following an actress are now following one of the most famous women in the world.
Had to be such a strange time. All right, let's wrap it up with our pint-sized palace. And Prince George is following in his father's footsteps when it comes to being a sports fan. Now, this is according to Mike Tindall. In his interview with The Telegraph, he said, George loves his football. I've played numerous times in the garden with him. He's passionate about Aston Villa, too. Wherever he is, he'll sit down and watch that game. I love that so much. You know, Mike has spoke about, I mean, we spoke about him before, but he has spoken numerous times about how close he really is with William and Kate. He added that they're just a family who loves sport. Catherine loves her running. You know, we know that they're a sporty family, so this kind of tracks.
I love this. I love that William has passed his deep love of Aston Villa down to George. I can just imagine, you know, the game days must be really loud and rowdy at their house.
Definitely. And then William reminded us that royals are just like us when it comes to kids. He said that Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis may have royal titles, but they're still siblings. And like most siblings, they can't agree on what to watch. Speaking at an event at BAFTA headquarters supporting young people in the arts, William revealed his kids are always wrestling over the remote. In a discussion with a student from the National Film and TV School, William said that George is the gamer in the family, while Louis and Charlotte love the films, adding they're fascinated by it. And while his wife, Kate, is trying to keep the kids' screen time in check, the sheer volume of options at their disposal leads to normal sibling disagreement. I think we can all relate.
So relatable. I mean, it's hard to imagine the future King of England arguing with his little brother over watching Paw Patrol or playing Xbox. Apparently it happens even at their house.
It happens in every household. I love to know that they're just like us. All right. Well, Christine, thank you so much as always.
I'm looking forward to next week. I think we have a lot of fun events to look forward to.
Definitely. All right. Well, keep commenting, keep subscribing, and we'll see you next week.